We're on a mission to get the anchor winch bolted down so we can get on with the hydraulics. Last week we got the bell roller strengthened. This week we get on with the anchor winch web strengthening under the anchor winch.
Hey, tell me a story. You've been hiding yourself again. Turn your shame to glory and shake off the ball and chain. Show me, why do you care? I'm a black vulture, send me a prayer and I'll spread my wings in the sky. Let's go, wave like you see me now.
Under the deck for the anchor winch, these are the bolts I'm using. So you get, goes through the deck, and then I'm going to cut this 100mm long, 4 of them 100mm long. So by the time it goes through the winch and the deck, it's about there. And then this will be cut about that long, and there'll be webs welded onto this. And then the nut basically bolts up and hits onto this steel pipe. So that kind of forms, we'll call it, that's like the clearance for the bolt.
So the issue is, how are you going to stop water getting in there? Is it, you're thinking of making it a completely sealed thing, but with the movement of the anchor winch?
I don't know if you'll ever be able to completely stop water going in it. Like I think I could try and fill this whole gap up. If water does go in it, let's say you don't put anything in it, right, and you just allow water to go in it, then it just ends up going into the anchor well, which self-drains anyway.
Can't you just bolt like through the deck?
The deck isn't the weak link in the whole thing, it's where the bolts go. On the back 2 bolts, the front 2 are going to be pushing into the deck and the back 2 are going to be trying to rip out, right? Because all the tension's trying to pull the winch forward.
Yeah, right. Okay. You're sacrificing strength.
Sacrificing possible leakage and rusting for strength.
The strength, yeah.
Like in my head...
Oh, it's not ideal though, is it?
No, but in my head, like, a rust stain down the side of the boat is a minor issue, but a winch ripping out of the front of the boat is a major issue. These are $10 each with a nylock nut. If I went stainless, that was probably close to $50 a bolt. So it's $200 a bolt versus $40 a bolt. You see what I mean?
And you don't mind a rust stain down the side?
I would rather have a rusty bow and be leaving rust stains on icebergs than stuck in a yard putting stainless pipes in and out of a hull. But the amount of water that comes in through these bolts is going to be like 1% of the amount of water that comes into the anchor locker, because most of it's going to come in up the chain.
Yeah, well maybe we don't even have to worry about it.
There's going to be a rust stain anyway down the side of the boat because of the chain.
Oh yeah!
I reckon it's
do what you're going to do and don't pay $200.
Yeah. Yeah,
okay.
Cool. Yeah, I reckon it's a non-issue, eh?
Okay.
So the plan is using these big ass 1-inch bolts. We're going to chop this piece of pipe, so this basically allows the bolt fits nicely in the end of these. We're going to cut them 100mm long, and that's going to form the basis of our web underneath.
Wow, doesn't that drill cut better than the other one?
Doesn't it, eh?
Oh, what were we doing with ourselves?
problem.
Too hard?
So this piece of steel, just to explain what's going on, is a mongrel. Pretty sure it's high tensile steel because it's just a real monster of a thing to drill with. Don't know, I might have to do a small pilot hole. I might just go and grab a pilot drill and just knock a pilot hole through that. There you go.
Let me see.
I broke the little centre drill off. It's a 6mm drill. The frustrating thing is they have a specific shape at the top of them, which means that I have to use that drill to use these hole saws. Now I know this might come as a shock to a lot of you, but I build a lot of my own tools through trial and error, and it's normally through quite a bit of error that the new tool design starts. So this is a regular drill bit that I was using inside a hole saw. You might have just seen that I basically bent it, so if you look along the length of it, it's got a nice lovely big curve going into it. One of the issues is when you use a hole saw like this, you drill through with a 6mm drill, and this is stationed in the centre of that hole saw, and then you're relying on these cutting edges here not biting on the steel and carrying it off sideways and therefore breaking or bending this here, or damaging your saw in this case. So one of the tricks that I do, I actually use just a piece of old steel, and in this case it's a roller handle, but I cut the steel here because it's the right size, and then grind a flat into the end of it, just like what you would have with your 6mm drill that goes in this, and then swap the drill bit out for this straight piece of steel. And the beauty of it is there's nothing to grab, so you can have that piece of steel sticking out the bottom of your hole saw, and because it's nice and smooth and shiny, it's absolutely perfect for running these hole saws nice and true, and them having them not bite up, and yeah, it just seems to work a lot longer and makes your life quite a bit easier. So in the last shot you saw really sort of struggling to keep the drill from biting. We've changed it over for the clear tube, for the straight tube, and it doesn't bind up on anything, so it's a hell of a lot easier now. Does bend. Snapped all the teeth off that. I'm gonna try something new. Well, by new I mean old. I got this old teeth style cutter, so you can sort of see basically cutting teeth on it. Oh, please don't break. If this doesn't work, I'll probably just plasma it because I'm sick and tired of drilling.
Dane was hoping to drill these holes so he'd get a nice smooth edge. fanning?
Nah, just did some plasma ring. Ah, the holes got lined up.
Isn't it?
And that bloke doesn't line up over here. Oh, sorry.
Sorry.
You're right.
Yeah.
That one's out. This one's good.
Oh, it's not too bad, is
I've got
it?
to do these ones from the bottom. I can't get the bolt down. Can't get it in.
You need to grind it out a bit.
No, it's that. It's in the way. I've got to put it
right.
up from the bottom and put the nut on from the bottom.
Right.
Yeah.
Almost there.
Yeah.
Oh.
So this is the anchor locker on Brupeg. So I'm basically standing on what's essentially a floor. There's a video that we cut into the crash bulkhead, which is under my feet. And then there's a big shelf. You can sort of see this, the back end of the shelf across there. It goes across the bow. Right up the front, that's where our chain, I'll wait till the light comes back a bit. Right up the front there, that little thing in the centre of the screen is where the shackle that the chain clips onto. And if I come over to the side, you can sort of see there's this piece of stainless here. It basically guides the chain from the hawse pipe down into the chain locker down over here. The issue that I'm having, these here are the bolts that are coming through the roof for the winch. However, if you come back here, you can see I've got one there and one there. Because of that piece of stainless, I can't get the bolt in. So this piece here is basically binding up on the bolt. So I'll probably have to take that out.
So you're tightening the 4 bolts in, you're doing the 2 front ones, then you're cutting the stainless thing off, and then you're doing the 2 back ones. Is that what you're doing?
Yeah.
Are you on? Is the sound on and everything? Spin? Yep. Bex was here over the weekend and helped Dame do some sandblasting. Thanks, Bex.
That is what I was hoping to see. that there is basically water running out on the left hand side from the anchor locker, and on the right hand side that goes out over the side of the hull. So this helps me drain the anchor locker very easily. So this is what our blasting has led to. So we've got basically big tracks of bare steel between our beams. So these beams that are, these pipes that we're bolting down there, you can see there. So we weld a 100mm thick steel beam all the way back, and we'll have another one of those pipes on this bolt here. So there's 4 bolts for the winch. They come down, bolt through to this pipe, and then we're going to weld quite a large webbing all the way under the deck there. Now, what I didn't realise, I thought I had quite a bit of rust. So if you have a look up on the roof here, I thought this was quite badly rusted. It wasn't actually, it was in really good nick, and the paint had actually started to delaminate. So I blasted all of the paint off so that I can get another decent layer on it. But the steel underneath is in absolutely brilliant condition. And the other thing I didn't realise, but you see that there, it's not rusting, it's stainless. So a lot of this anchor well is actually stainless. I didn't realise it. You can sort of see over here, if I come up nice and close, that's a rib. It's a stainless rib. Yeah, wasn't expecting to find that, but that's a really lovely surprise. So, and then where I did find a little bit of paint coming off and a little bit of rust underneath, I gave it heebie-jeebies, and yeah, we'll clean that right up. So all up, really stoked. This has come up really nice. Oh yeah, I realised one of the holes that I drilled is like about 5mm off, so I'm going to move the winch and like plasma like one side of it out just a little bit, just so that I can get the bolt in, and then I'll fill it all up with weld when I join everything back together. So this is the chain locker here. Basically this is where the chain sits when it comes through the hose pipe on the deck. So that big hole is the hose pipe, and you can see where we're going to have the winch and all of the grid and everything that we're welding. But what I wanted to do is protect all of these sides and ribs and all that sort of stuff, and this shelf as well. So when the chain's like flying in here and, you know, bashing around and so on, it's going to take paint off and whatever, and therefore rust and cause issues with the boat. So what I'm thinking is lining this whole area with something like hard plastic or plywood or something quite thick. I want sort of like 3/4 of an inch thick, so that it can be sacrificial. It doesn't matter if it rots, it's really going to cause no issues. It's just to protect all of the paintwork from you know, having the paint ripped off from chain bashing around it, see? Right, I'm going to pull that up. Awesome! Okay, that's all you got on the power cord? Yep. If it lines up.
Looking pretty good.
Oh yeah.
Oh.
Alright.
Hey.
I'm going to start putting the pipes in so I can measure it up. That is what I'm building. So there's like a grid pattern, you can see the 4 bolts there, and then there's basically steel webs that hang out either side of a bolt, and that spreads the load in a really big area across the deck. So what we've done, I've marked out all the various bits, so all the way down you can sort of see various bits that are marked out along the beams. What I've got to do now is go through and start chopping these up, and then start putting in some slots where all the various pieces of metal start overlapping each other. So if you imagine that with the pipe in the centre of those, that's basically what we're building under the deck, and there'll be another sort of lot that comes out the back end here. But it gives you an idea of sort of what we're trying to go for. Right, well, that has absolutely shagged the drill. Blimey. It's probably a really obvious answer here, but that has absolutely shagged the drill. So it was reasonably sharp, it was cutting okay like prior to all of that happening. But yeah, anyway, I've got a couple of these spare, so we'll just carry on with those. Alright, that is the underside of the front deck on Brupeg, and you can see that hole in the middle of the roof there is, or middle of the deck, is the hawse pipe. So what we're going to do, they're the 4 bolts that come through from the bottom of the anchor winch. We're going to climb in, do some engineering acrobatics and start tacking all of this together. So you can start to see the basic layout of the webbing. Now we're going to throw some steel in and get this done. Richard just arrived and he's brought like stacks and stacks and stacks and stacks and stacks of gear from the States. It's so cool. And what do we do with it? He bought this thing. All the Sparkies in the room will know what this is. A decent one of these. We don't have one of these on the boat.
Can you just go a bit closer?
Yeah.
Oh, putting your focus here. And extreme close up for medicine.
This is going to be awesome to help solve some stuff on the boat.
Just look at that gorgeous thing.
It's just awesome.
Oh, amazing. Thank you so much, Richard.
he brought an entire alternator for the main engine. We've got the alternator that's on there charging at the moment, but it's a long story. The alternator doesn't have the controls needed to be able to run a rev counter off it, whereas this one is a Chevy alternator and it has the bits and pieces needed. So we're going to modify it to suit and basically bolt that alternator onto the main engine. The unboxing ceremony. Wicked. Delphi.
There's a new set of brushes for it.
Oh, wicked.
And here's the pigtail.
Oh,
Yeah!
I was just thinking, well, we have to find one of those.
No, we don't.
That's awesome. Done. That's bloody awesome.
Richard just lugged this across the globe over here. Thank you so much, Richard.
Oh, you're welcome.
Richard changed out the alternator in a Chevy truck back in America and brought the old one back here for us to use on Brupeg. Thanks, Richard.
Wasting this time that I borrowed, running too fast for the sun, and my eyes they still burn for tomorrow.
Shit that I bought like 4 years ago. Making good. Tasty, huge when I bought it then. So we're getting there, starting to get the web all welded in. So this is about 3/4 finished. So you can sort of see all of the joins and edges and stuff have been welded on this side. I've got to now add, right down the centre there, you can see there's a piece missing between those two bolts. That one and that one down the end there. I've got to add that in. So I'll get that done and then we're pretty much ready to just finish off in here. I was going to blast the welds, but I think we'll be alright with these welds today. I'll go through and 2-pack them all. Hopefully that'll be enough to keep the rust out. I think it'll be fine. And then the last job I have to do, actually, just now that I remember, is climb in here and weld right up the front. So some of these ones up the front here haven't been welded, particularly on the back sides over here. So I just need to go through and make sure that they're done before we climb out of here today.
Hey, I think I know the shape of the thing you've welded.
What?
I think I figured out the shape.
Tic-tac-toe.
What are you looking for?
Just fixing stuff.
What?
I gotta fix your ground, man. Look at
What are
this.
you trying to say?
You've got 4 strands left.
Yeah?
Feel how the cable is.
No, I'd rather not.
20 minutes after it's been cooling.
It's mostly redundancy. As long as I've got a couple still hooked up.
Yeah. But this will break strand 3.
Damien is getting told off about his grounding thingy on the welder. It's hilarious.
Okay.
Jet lag has taken over. Sorry.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
Oh, look at that!
That's hilarious.
Hey, and it didn't even break the wire. It broke the clip.
Oh.
See, that's
You knew that was gonna happen.
quality crimping job.
There you have it. So that's the finished product. We've got the 4 bolts that hang through there and then the webs that go off on varying different sizes, depending on basically what the maximum was that we could fit. So the load is actually sort of spread diagonal on this, yeah, and we've tried to allow for that by basically making the beams as long as we can in most areas. So that should be good. We'll get in there and blast that up and get some paint on, and that's us finished.
Cyclone Omar looked like it was coming down on us, so we spent the day preparing the boat for some heavy rains.
So one of the last jobs that we need to do up on the front of the boat here is go through and sandblast it. So on the top we've burned the paint off. The 2-pack paint that we put on a while ago has been burnt off obviously with the heat from welding. So we need to go through, sandblast that, throw a bit more paint on there. We're going to use 2-pack etch on this deck, and then we're going to drag the winch over and mount it properly.
you want to leave this place where we grew up? This old town, just put it all behind. Remember you and I would always find somewhere to hide when we were kids, so we could see and hear the water run. River's gonna cry when you're gone.
Finished.
Won't you miss the ones you know? I'll be here, hanging on, waiting for your call. Seems like time as I wave passing by, leave a mark in our marks to turn to memories. River's gonna cry when you're gone, 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 gone.